Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. This crew is a few minutes early, which I love to see. So we'll probably start about 2 minutes past. Hello. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, I just dropped the link to the agenda in the chat. And now that I'm looking at the chat, I think it's doing this weird Zoom thing where my chat shows up as Heaven Jordan. So I guess the two of us will be commenting in the chat and it will show up as the same person, which is a funky technical error, I think. But bear with us. We'll go ahead and get started in just one more minute. We'll wait for a few more folks to join us. But check out the agenda in the chat while we're waiting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out the agenda, which is in the chat. And just so you know, we are recording today's call. We typically do, in case anyone's not able to join the call, we can share this with them afterwards. So if you haven't already started to do this, please start using the chat to introduce yourselves with your name, your organization, anything else you want to share with the group. We'd love to hear who you are, and this will help us with our notes to get a sense of who's in the Zoom room today. So I think I probably know most of you, but in case you're new here, my name is Julia Grenfeld. I'm a program manager with the Prince George's County Food Equity Council, and we've been hosting these calls for almost 3 years now. And they're really just an opportunity to bring together our food assistance provider community into the same Zoom room to kind of hear updates, hear what you're working on, what your challenges are, and have a place and a space to collaborate and learn from one another. And so this call today, this is our February call. These calls are always hosted on the first Thursday of the month. So this call today is hosted by me, facilitated by me, as well as my colleague, Kevin Jordan, who's with us taking notes, helping with the chat. And I need to jump off this call about 15 minutes early. So depending on how long things go, we might be kind of into our discussion portion by then. So Heaven is going to be taking over the facilitation of this call. When I need to jump, I'm going to be joining a webinar that starts right at 2 p.m. So I need to be on for that. If you're interested in joining the webinar right after this, this is linked in the agenda. So feel free to check that out if you want to join the webinar. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a packed agenda today. This call is focused on utility assistance programs and housing assistance programs. This stemmed from a lot of the conversations we heard at our January call, as well as kind of other conversations we've had with food assistance providers. And what we've been hearing is that a lot of folks are looking for resources to share with their clients who are in need of both utility and housing assistance resources. So we kind of wanted to bring everyone together and host this kind of virtual resource fair in some ways to learn about some of the programs, both kind of county programs as well as programs from other nonprofit organizations in the county. So with that, we're going to jump into our speakers. So our first speaker is going to be talking about the Maryland Energy Assistance Program. So Stephanie, I will pass it to you. And for each of our speakers, I'm not going to go into a long in-depth introduction for you guys. I'll let you introduce yourselves and kick off your presentation. You can share your screen if you have slides. After the presentation, please try to keep it within about 10 minutes or less. We will have about 2 minutes for questions, and then we'll jump into the next speaker. So I believe we have 5 speakers today, so please do try to keep it hopefully around 8 minutes. That would be preferred, so we have time for everyone and for questions. So Stephanie, if you're ready, I will pass it to you.
I'm ready, thank you. Hi, Stephanie Outlaw. I'm the program manager for the Office of Energy in Prince George's County. And in a pretty succinct nutshell, we help residents of Prince George's County with their Pepco, Washington Gas, BG&E, oil, propane, and any other utility that they might be using. We're also, we just got additional water money, so we are also helping with water benefits until that money runs out. Basically, customers can call can come to our office at 425 Bright Seat Road between 8 o'clock and 4:30 and apply for energy assistance. The things that they need to bring with them if they are going to come to the office to apply for energy assistance would be their picture ID, their social security cards for all persons in their household, their lease if they rent, their income for everyone in the household over the age of 18, and of course their Pepco, Washington Gas, BG&E oil bills. Our processing time is generally, we are in a sort of a backlog right now, but our processing time is generally 30 to 45 days. If a customer has a disconnect notice, hopefully they'll bring that with them and we can put them on a 55-day hold with Pepco, Washington Gas, BG&E. They can go online if they cannot come to the office. And in the chat, if I did this right, I put the link to where they can come. Actually, it's supposed to be maryland.gov, where they can go online and do the application online and upload everything to that website, and we will print down their application and move forward from there. Let's see, the water application is, I believe the water application is online. But if a person needs water, they can, I'll put my email address in the chat and I can send them a copy of the water application. And basically, again, the processing time for that is still 30 to 45 days. And right now we have, since we just got new money, we are working on the backlog and the waiting list that we have for the water program. So, but we are still accepting applications. Let's see if there's any, I want to use up all my 8 minutes. Let's see, is there anything else that, let's see, if they want to fax in the application, the fax number is 301-909-6331. So there are a lot of opportunities to apply for energy assistance. What we're noticing now is that customers who, since we are in February, our program starts in July and ends May 31st. Actually, no, it starts in July and technically ends May 31st, but there's some little bit of overlap. In January and February, customers who've already applied previously tend to come in and apply again. At that point, we're telling them to hold the application until the next round of assistance is available. We also, if a customer has already utilized energy assistance from us, we are referring them to Salvation Army for assistance with energy assistance. So pretty much that's my program. Any questions, or are we going to hold questions until the end?
Thank you, Stephanie. We have a couple minutes for questions if anyone has any questions for Stephanie, and if not, we can jump into our next presenter. Going once, going twice. Okay, and I commented in the chat, but we are taking notes. We are recording today's call. If you miss anything, we will send that out to you. So don't fret if you don't, get all these notes down as quickly as possible. Okay, Stephanie, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, we'll have some time at the end. So with that, let's see who's next on my list. I think the next presentation is actually going to be about the water assistance program. So I think this is a good fit. So I'll pass it to Daisy for your presentation.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Julia, and thanks to all the partners on the call today. I'm Daisy Rickard. I'm with WSSC Water, and I serve as a customer engagement specialist. So I'm part of our customer engagement and advocacy division. And in a nutshell, what our division is focused on doing is ensuring that we're connecting our most vulnerable customers. Of course, we're here to serve all of our customer, but really focusing on our most vulnerable customers. And I did put together a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to pull up here in a moment. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, looks good. And we can see the side panel as well. Just wanted to let you know, but that's also
Perfect.
not a problem.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So it's a pleasure again to be here. Today I will be speaking on the low-income housing water assistance program. So good to see our wonderful partner, Stephanie Outlaw from Prince George's County on the call, and I will provide just a quick overview of who WSCC Water is, what we do, focusing on the LIWAP, which is the Low Income Housing Water Assistance Program, the reallocation that Stephanie Outlaw just touched on a moment ago, and how has the program served our customers? How is it continuing to support our most vulnerable communities? And lastly, a quick snapshot of WSCC Water's financial assistance programs that we have available to our customers. I'd like to begin these types of presentations with a quote from the U.S. Water Alliance. WSCC Water is a proud member of the U.S. Water Alliance, and this is an organization, really a network across the country that is focused on equity, diversity, and inclusion. And in the water sector, you're just focusing on this quote, as you can see on the screen, all people need access to the basics: water, food, shelter, in order for them to participate fully in society. And when these basic conditions are met, we know that our communities thrive. So it's definitely very powerful. It connects to the work that we continue to do. And during the pandemic, as we know, that created a economic impact, to say the least, a great impact, tremendous impact, I should say, on the communities we serve, specifically our most vulnerable customers. So these charts here do reflect sort of what we saw. As you can see to the left of the screen, we have what we call the delinquency trend. So all the customers that unfortunately fell behind and are still behind on their water and sewer bill. So WSSC Water does serve 1.9 million customers in both Montgomery and Prince George's counties. So, our focus has remained on connecting customers to financial assistance resources. And, the good thing is that as a result of the various programs rolling out at the state, local, and municipal levels, and even with our own programs, we've seen the delinquency rates decrease. They're continuing to drop, as you can see from the chart on the left. And on the right, we're focusing on our most vulnerable customers, which the majority of them are enrolled in WSSC Water's Customer Assistance Program, known as CAP. So this just gives you a quick idea, again, of the scenario. The low-income housing water assistance program that the state rolled out over a year ago actually has been of tremendous help to our customers, and certainly to WSSC Water, and better understanding the needs that our communities are facing. So for Prince George's County, we have seen many customers that have received the assistance. Both Montgomery and Prince George's counties received about $1.5 million, almost equally distributed across each county, dedicated to assisting those customers who are behind or have been behind on their water and sewer bills. So as you can see, we've broken down the assistance, how much each county has received specifically for our Prince George's County customers. They have been able to receive overall $1.6 million in aid. That means that we've been able, with the help of our partners at the Energy Assistance Office, at the state level, we've been able to help more than 1,500 of our customers in Prince George's County. And the average amount of assistance per customer has been just over $1,000. I will say that as part of the assistance that the program provides, it does give eligible households up to $2,000 in the form of a grant. So it doesn't have to be repaid, and the eligibility, the application, everything is processed by, at least in Prince George's County, by the Office of Home Energy Programs, Stephanie Outlaw and her amazing team, and Montgomery County for the Department of Health and Human Services. So they continue to be tremendous partners as we continue to assist our customers in need. This other slide here just gives us an overview. As I mentioned, the original allocation that the state provided to each county is roughly $1.5 million, excuse me. Prince George's County has done a tremendous job, as has Montgomery County, in connecting our customers, getting them the assistance that they need to avoid a disconnection, or in the unfortunate situation where a customer has been turned off, we've quickly, worked together, developed processes once this program rolled out to connect customers to the much needed services. So we understand from the counties and the state level that there are reallocations that are occurring. So this gives you a quick overview. Because of time, I won't go over each of these line items, but this gives you an idea of the tremendous effort that's going toward helping our customers in need. So much thanks to all that are involved as a part of this. Funding, I will say, has to be dedicated by September 30th of 2023, and funds must be dispersed by the end of the calendar year. So we also want to let our partners and our customers know that we're here to help. WSSC Water is here to support our neighbors when they need help the most. And what more critical time than now? The past several years have been just, devastating to so many. And we're here, we actually enhanced our financial assistance programs to help more of our customers who are in need. We do have more information in detail on the wccwater.com/assistance page. We did put together a bilingual campaign, keeping in mind that we serve 2 of the largest jurisdictions in the state, both of which are diverse. And so with that in mind, we did kick off at the start of COVID, our Here to Help campaign. And I'm happy to say that this is something that continues as part of WCC Water's efforts. And this slide here gives you an idea of the various programs that WSSC Water has in place to assist our most vulnerable customers. So I'm happy to answer any questions after the call or at any moment. If any of your organizations would like a presentation more in detail about the programs that we offer, our team is certainly available. But as you can see here, the Customer Assistance Program is one of the main programs that does provide eligible households that must meet certain income criteria that's established by the Office of Home Energy Programs at the state level. So what this program does, it does provide a credit to eligible customers for the fixed fees portion of their WSSC water and sewer bill. There was expanded eligibility for households that have at least one individual that's 60, 70 years of age or more. And this is an annual recertification that's required for the program. And customers that are enrolled in the CAP program are automatically enrolled in WSSC Water's Bay Restoration Fund fee exemption program. So a customer who is in financial need can actually receive up to $180 per year in the form of a credit on their WSSC water and sewer bill. So this is always great news we want to share with our customers and our partners. The other program is the Water Fund. This is a second program. It's one of our staple programs that has been in existence since 1994, and it is administered by the Salvation Army. And the purpose of this program is to help customers that are already disconnected or have received a disconnection letter. We unfortunately, come across many of those situations. Again, we do offer bill adjustments, payment plans, and payment plans right now are really one of the ways that it will prevent a customer from being turned off. So in essence of time, we definitely wanted to make sure that we provided our contact information. This is my contact information. Feel free to reach out should you have any clients, any of our customers that may be in need, should you have more specific questions around the programs that we offer and how we can be of help. Customers who have inquiries or billing concerns, it could be a high bill. You'd be surprised, how many customers we interact with on a day-to-day basis that call in with just a number of concerns, needing information on emergency support resources, and a number of other items. So feel free to direct customers to contact us. We do have a customer service email inbox, which is here on the screen. And should you have an interest in having WCC Water participate, whether it be virtual or in person at an event, feel free to email us and our community outreach team will be happy to follow up with you. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Daisy. We appreciate it. Any questions for Daisy? Going once, going twice.
I have a question. Sorry, I had to unmute. This is LaQuana Simmons from the Ark of Prince George's County. I'm eating, so I didn't have my face on the screen, so I apologize. This is a lunch meeting for me. So I did, but Daisy, I work with a lot of adults with disabilities and we assist them apply for state and federal benefits. So you were saying the process for those, I'm in Prince George's County. What is the process that they need to go through, because there's been some confusion with the grant versus the actual application for the payment fees? So are we clicking, because I usually go through Department of Social Services link, but there's also this, the Office of Energy has its own application that you submit or upload. Is there a separate process for those two things, or do you know the details from it? Because I'm getting some miscommunication about actually applying for that water bill, water assistance. I can apply for energy, but the water assistance program where they get the reduced benefit, you know, like the monthly billing fee, not the grant. I'm talking about just the billing. Is there a different process for that than what I've been told?
Great
you kinda-
question, Laquana. Thank you so much. If you're referring to WCC Water's customer assistance program
Yeah.
that waives the fixed fees portion of the bill, there's not a separate application that the customer has to submit. So in other words, if a customer has already been approved for energy assistance benefits through OHEP, then we automatically enroll the customer in the program. So we receive a monthly file from the state, and we have a process where we basically with our billing system, we're able to match up the files and automatically enroll the customer. So they would be able to start receiving that credit on their bill. But
Wonderful.
I'm happy to follow up with you if you have any
Yes.
specific accounts or anything that like me to answer.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Great questions. Okay, well, thank you so much, Daisy. You all have Daisy's contact information. Again, we'll be sending all of this information out. Keep in mind that Daisy and that team at WSSC Water is available to present at your meetings. So, that could be a good opportunity. I know a lot of you, maybe this meeting time doesn't work for all of your staff or your volunteers. So it could be a great opportunity to have the rest of your team learn more about these programs. Okay, we're going to keep on moving. So our next presentation is on the emergency rental assistance program. Latanya, are you on yet? I'm not sure if I saw if she was on. No, we can skip around a little bit in the agenda. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. So Kayla, if you are ready. So Kayla is with Community Legal Services. So I'm going to pass it to you to introduce yourself and share your presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kayla Williams. I'm the managing attorney with Community Legal Services, and I'll be presenting on our eviction prevention programs in Anne Arundel and Prince George's County. Give me 1 second and I will share my screen.
Latanya, are you here? You in this meeting? We're supposed to be in today?
Okay, can everyone see that?
Looks good.
Alrighty, so once again, my name is Kayla Williams and I work with Community Legal Services. We are a nonprofit civil legal services organization. We primarily focus on Prince George's County, but we've recently extended to Anne Arundel County. This is a list of some of our services. What I'll be speaking about today is our eviction prevention programs in Prince George's and Anne Arundel County. In addition to those programs, we have a lawyer referral program. We have a domestic violence wellness program, a foreclosure prevention clinic, a family law clinic for the self-represented, a Latino access clinic, and a Suitland law clinic. I must note that all of our services are free, and we do primarily represent low-income individuals. So our tenant representation programs, also known as our eviction prevention programs, take place at the Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County District Courts. In Prince George's County, our program has been in operation since 2018. We have attorneys that are present at the Hyattsville District Courthouse every day that there's a docket. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We provide same-day representation as well as extended representation. So what that means is if a tenant is facing eviction, they can call us ahead of time and let us know that they have a hearing. But if they can't get a hold of us before their hearing, they can always show up at the courthouse on the day of their hearing and receive representation. Our Anne Arundel County program is similar. It was established in 2020, and it operates out of the Glen Burnie and Annapolis district courthouses. And again, that program also provides same-day and extended representation. In addition to legal representation in court hearings, we can also provide advice. So if a tenant receives a notice from their landlord, or if they believe that they're in fear of eviction, but they don't actually have a court summons, they can give us a call and we can give them free legal advice. This is a list of the type of cases that we handle. All of these are going to be involving eviction cases. So we don't do things like security deposits, or if a landlord or tenant want to sue each other for money. Those cases take place in Upper Marlboro, and we typically refer those to other law firms. But these are the cases that we can assist with. The bulk of our cases are going to be cases involving late rent, which is where a landlord is alleging that a tenant has not paid their rent, and as a result, they are seeking to evict that tenant. We also handle a lot of tenant holding over cases. That's when a landlord is alleging that a tenant's lease has expired, and as a result, they want to evict that tenant. Additionally, we handle breach of lease cases where a landlord's alleging that the tenant breached a section of the lease, and as a result, they want to proceed with an eviction. And additionally, we handle wrongful detainer. Some people refer to this as a squatter's right, but essentially if a homeowner allowed a guest to stay in the property, but they're not really a tenant, they would still have to proceed with an eviction in that case. We do assist with those. And lastly, we handle rent escrow cases. And that's where a tenant is alleging that there are some serious defects in their property and the landlord is not fixing those issues. And as a result, they want to get the court involved. So we can assist with all of those. All of these are involving eviction except for rent escrow. Whenever I give a presentation, I like to give a summary of the process in Maryland in case you come across any tenants who do believe that they're facing an imminent eviction. So essentially in Maryland, an eviction cannot take place unless a landlord files something with the court first. Before filing a court case, the landlord is often required to give a tenant certain notices. But oftentimes when tenants receive a notice, they'll think that the landlord can evict them the next day. And that's not the process in Maryland. So essentially how it works is a landlord may have to give a tenant certain types of notice depending on what case is involved. Once that notice is given to the tenant, the landlord must then file a court case seeking eviction or seeking possession of the property. Once the court case is filed, the court will then schedule a hearing and they will notify both the landlord and the tenant to appear at a hearing. At that hearing, the landlord must be successful and they must obtain a court order, which is also known as a judgment for possession. In addition to obtaining that court order, they must also obtain another document called a warrant of restitution. And that's what allows the sheriff's office to actually oversee the eviction. And lastly, once the landlord obtains the court order and the warrant of restitution, the landlord must then coordinate with the sheriff's office to schedule an eviction date. So all of that must happen before a tenant can be evicted. And again, oftentimes the tenants will receive certain notices before they receive a court summons. So we often handle a lot of calls just regarding those notices, and we can advise tenants about the process, what they can and can't do to avoid an eviction. So if there's a case that we're not able to handle, so say, for example, if a landlord were to call us, we're not able to represent them, but we do refer them to different legal services providers. And additionally, our office not only handles housing cases, but we handle family law cases, so divorce, custody, child support, visitation, domestic violence, guardianship, pretty much anything civilly related, but we don't handle fee generating cases. So things like car accidents or personal injury cases, we aren't able to assist with those. But anything involving, not involving monetary issues, for the most part, we're able to handle as long as the individual is income eligible. And I talked a little bit about our landlord-tenant programs. We also have a foreclosure prevention project. And so if you know anyone who is facing foreclosure, feel free to refer them to our office. We help with things like loan modification, mediation, things like that. In addition to our foreclosure project, we also have a bankruptcy program, which works very closely with our foreclosure program. And in some cases, if a person does file bankruptcy, that will prevent a foreclosure from taking place. And most of our staff is bilingual. If we come across clients who speak a language that our staff does not speak, we use a service called Language Line, so we can speak to them pretty much in any language using an interpreter. But we do have a specific clinic that is dedicated to providing services to the Latino community. This is located in Langley Park. So if someone just needs help either filling out a court form or if they need some advice, we typically refer them to our Latino Access Clinic. But if they need a specific service like a foreclosure issue or if they're facing eviction, they can go to any of those clinics as well. So here's my contact information. If you believe that a tenant is facing eviction, feel free to refer them to me. You can email me directly. If you want to give our contact information out to tenants directly, they can email us at info@clspgc.org. They can also visit our website, and our website will explain all of our services. They can also apply for our services online. And this number here is our intake line. So if they wanted to call us, they can reach us that way as well. And the last slide includes some resources. So if you wanted to just share this information with some of your clients, it's very helpful. The Maryland Court website that just has all of the different types of court forms and procedures. This was really important during the height of the pandemic when there was different levels of operation. The People's Law Library does a really good job of explaining the different types of law in very layman's terms. So I often refer people to this if they have questions about a specific area of law, and I often refer to it as well. If you know anyone who's interested in eviction protections throughout the state or the country, the Eviction Lab is a great resource. And lastly, the Maryland Court Self-Help Center. They are located at the Upper Marlboro Courthouse. They don't provide representation, but they do help with legal advice, and they can help you fill out forms if you do decide, or if your client decides to represent themselves. And that is all from me. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Any questions?
Hi, Kayla. Sorry, LaQuanta Simmons again. Quick question about constructive evictions. I'm having a lot of clients who have been bounced out of Section 8 or reduced the housing programs, or having some kind of hiccup, and the landlord is using that to evict them. Are you all assisting with that particularly?
I think it depends. So constructive evictions, the remedy for that is going to be to sue for monetary damages. So we wouldn't be able to handle that type of case.
Okay.
But say if a landlord was, say, making the property uncomfortable to live in, or was turning off their water or something like that,
Right.
that could give grounds to a rent escrow case, and that would
Okay.
be something that we could assist with.
Okay, so not for monetary gain, but definitely to keep them in their home and to
Yeah.
make sure that they can enjoy quiet enjoyment. Okay, so the other thing is the Section 8, the tricky one that, you know, and I just have to use it. The client was in Section 8 housing. For some reason, there was a mix up, and they were reading income that she did not have in Section 8. So she was temporarily pushed out of Section 8. They corrected it. But this happened in December. So they corrected it, but because she was boosted out, her landlord was now trying to evict her because they knew she couldn't afford the full amount of the rent.
Mhm.
It was actually subsidy. So
Mhm.
she was paying maybe $800. The rent itself is $2,000. Do you help with those cases as well?
Yeah, it sounds
Okay.
like if it's involving an eviction, I think we can definitely assist with that.
Okay.
In some cases, if it's if it's more of a complex subsidy case that's involving eviction, we refer some of those to Maryland Legal Aid because they specialize in those. But
Yeah.
yeah, feel free to refer it to me if you have any questions.
Great. Thank you.
Of course.
Andrea, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all that information, Kayla. I had a question. I'm from Maryland Hunger Solutions. We sign people up for SNAP, and I work a lot with the Spanish-speaking community who often bring up issues that they're confronting in terms of rent-related issues. So what would be the best way to refer them, or do you have anything online in terms of information that I could give them?
I would say, do you want to refer them for like, I would say probably to email me directly. If they have a court hearing, I can make sure that our attorneys are looking out for them at the courthouse. We also can do training. So if there's a specific issue that a particular complex or community is dealing with, we can try to provide them some type of uniform training that can hopefully answer their questions collectively. But I would say the best way to refer them is probably to email me directly.
Okay.
And then I can get it to whoever's.
Thank you so much. And is there any information about I think you mentioned the Latino Access Clinic, is that online?
Yes, it's on our website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
We'll just take one more question really quick. Mary, if you want to go next.
Thank you for letting me speak. Kayla, I'm with Councilmember Tom Donova's office in District 1. I refer a lot of people to your clinic or to your organization. But one question, and it's going to sound kind of trivial, but where in the Hyattsville courthouse or down in Upper Marlboro, where exactly are your lawyers located? If they want to do this, because I can see many of them doing the same day, wanting same day advice. Where are they so that I can tell them that?
Sure, that's a good question. Our attorneys are usually going to be in courtroom 6. That's for most in Hyattsville. All of the eviction cases in Maryland take for Prince George's County place in Hyattsville. So our attorneys will usually be in courtroom 6. That's the main courtroom. Occasionally it's operating out of courtroom 5 and 6. And our attorneys usually make an announcement at the beginning of each docket. They also have lanyards and name tags that say CLS. But if there's ever an issue where they can't locate our attorneys, they can check in with the courtroom bailiff, and the bailiff will show them where our attorneys are.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Great. Thank you all for the questions. We're going to keep on moving. So our next presenter is Jay from Homeless Street Outreach. And before I pass it over to Jay, for those of you who joined a little bit late, I mentioned this in the beginning. I need to jump to another webinar. I'm leaving this in my colleague Heaven Jordan's capable hands. So she is going to wrap up the rest of the facilitation. There'll be a little bit of time for questions after Jay's presentation, and then we'll have our usual community announcements at the end. Sorry, I won't get to stay for the presentation, but I will be sure to check out the recording after the call. So thank you all so much for being here. So please direct any questions to Heaven, and looking forward to seeing you all next month. Jay, off to you.
Thanks, Julia. I'm going to share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. As Julia mentioned, I'm Jay Summerlot with the Prince George's County Department of Social Services. I use they, them pronouns. I am the Coordinated Entry Program Manager, which I'll get to in the presentation. What's relevant for this presentation is that I'm also the acting team lead for our Homeless Street Outreach team. And I also I am the interface between the Department of Social Services and the Housing Authority for a lot of the specialty voucher programs. This is going to be an abbreviated version of the training that I give to the community intercept teams. So I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. All of the slides in all of their detail are on the slide presentation that is linked on the agenda, and my contact information is at the end. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to follow up with me afterwards once you've had a chance to review it. I'll run through the presentation and then we'll take some questions afterwards. Just a little bit of an overview of homeless services in Prince George's County. We are what's called a continuum of care. That's a HUD designation of an organization that or a geographic area that provides homeless services. The Department of Social Services is the lead agency, but it's made up of a lot of different organizations. Some of them are funded through HUD, through the Department of Social Services, and others are just providing homeless services directly from other funding sources. But the whole network together is really essential in providing services for people experiencing homelessness in Prince George's County. The homeless street outreach team is a part of that COC. Our responsibility is to provide direct services and case management to people that are experiencing homelessness. It's not unlike the kind of case management that somebody would receive in an emergency shelter, but we work with people who are sleeping rough or sleeping in public buildings, sleeping in their vehicles. We frequently get questions about Prince George's County residency. Our services in Prince George's County are limited to people who are residents of Prince George's County or who are sleeping unsheltered in Prince George's County, regardless of where they are residents. If somebody is sleeping unsheltered in Prince George's County, it's my street outreach team that then is able to confirm that they are sleeping rough or sleeping in a place not meant for human habitation in Prince George's County, and then we can provide that interface to try to get them connected to emergency shelter or other services. This is a little bit of an overview of the Prince George's County COC from the perspective of street outreach. We have a lot of different partner organizations that provide referrals to us. Some of those relationships are very well established, and some of those organizations attend our community outreach meetings on Thursday mornings. We are always focused on what the client wants and what their homelessness looks like. Homelessness is very frequently variable. It is not a binary thing between homelessness and not homelessness. Sometimes people will be they'll be sleeping in a vehicle for a little while, and then they may scrape together enough money for a hotel stay. Then they may go into an emergency shelter for a couple of weeks, and then maybe they exit there and stay with a family member. And then maybe they're back in their vehicle. And through that scenario that I just described, that individual would be moving between meeting the federal definition of homelessness and not meeting that definition. So we frequently on the street outreach side work with people whose homelessness is variable and changes over time. That's just a normal part of our operation. And we're more than happy to try and connect people to whatever services they are eligible for. We work very closely with the homeless hotline to try to connect people to emergency shelter. And the street outreach team also refers people to coordinated entry, which is basically our air traffic control system for getting unhoused people into HUD-funded housing programs like rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and transitional housing. We prioritize based on vulnerability, and most of the people who come in through coordinated entry are either in our emergency shelters or in our street outreach teams. We also work with some other organizations that identify individuals who are literally unhoused and are also eligible for HUD-funded housing programs that we administer. And of course, the ultimate goal is to always help people achieve sustainable housing. The Prince George's County Homeless Hotline is responsible for coordinating all of our emergency housing resources in Prince George's County. That is largely emergency shelter. All of our emergency shelters receive their referrals from the Homeless Hotline. So if you know of somebody who is unsheltered and seeking housing, their first call should be this 888 number to contact the hotline. If for some reason you can't remember or you don't have this number stored in your phone or written down someplace, you can also have people call 211. The homeless hotline is answered by the same counselors who answer the county's 211 line. So if somebody calls either the homeless hotline or 211 and indicates that they are in need of emergency shelter, the hotline counselors will then do an intake and make the appropriate referral to emergency shelter. Street outreach, like I said, provides for people's immediate needs. The case management that we do really relies on us building trust over time, and we rely on those partner relationships with organizations to help transfer some of that trust. A homeless individual may have built a relationship with staff at a local library, or somebody on the Metro Police, or a local cops officer, social workers at local organizations. And so we'll work with them to try and build their trust in our organization, and to try and get them connected to the resources that we have available, or resources that are available in partnering organizations. This is the contact information for our 3 street outreach navigators. Each of the navigators covers a different part of Prince George's County. You are welcome to contact them directly. Like I said, this information is all in the slide deck that has been shared with all of you in the meeting agenda. So you can feel free to reach out if you know of somebody that's in one of these areas that is unsheltered, sleeping outdoors, sleeping in a vehicle, sleeping in an abandoned building. Feel free to reach out to the street outreach navigator directly, and they will follow up on that referral. We also get referrals for people that call into the homeless hotline, reporting that somebody may be experiencing homelessness, and lots of other organizations reach out to us on a daily basis and let us know that there might be somebody who needs our services. We often get questions about how people can help. If you know of any organizations or individuals who are interested in supporting our street outreach efforts, our Amazon wish list is a good way to do that. You can follow the link or use the QR code. It takes you right to our wish list. Items that are purchased there get shipped directly to the Department of Social Services, and we will be using them for street outreach immediately. If anybody has individuals who might be unsheltered, in addition to calling the homeless hotline or calling one of the street outreach navigators directly or calling me directly, you can also use our DSS street outreach referral form to capture the information that you know about that individual. We will follow up on these referrals. You can also feel free to share this out broadly if you know of other organizations or individuals in your organization who might want a way to give us information about somebody who's experiencing homelessness. And as I said, this is my contact information. I field calls every single day about people experiencing homelessness in Prince George's County, what that experience looks like, how to connect people to help. So if you want to reach out to me and ask questions about homeless services or how to connect somebody to homeless services, I'm more than happy to go ahead and have that conversation with you, or anybody else who would want to talk with me. You can feel free to reach out to me anytime. And I'm ready for questions.
Great. I see that someone's raised their hand, a 301 number. You can go ahead and check.
Yes, good afternoon. Reverend Ray, Constituent Service with Mr. Calvin Hawkins, Council's office. Our question, persons with disability, like in wheelchairs and other type of special needs, would they call you, your office as well? And do they have accommodation for those individuals?
Yeah, that's a great question. If those individuals are seeking emergency shelter, they should contact the homeless hotline. There is shelter space that is ADA accessible, and the hotline can make referrals to that. Also, our shelters, our regular shelters, the men's shelter, women's shelter, our youth shelter, are able to accommodate people to a certain extent. if they have physical disabilities, if somebody is in a wheelchair, they would need to be able to transfer themselves and handle their ADLs. But those kinds of considerations would be handled by the hotline. So if you have anybody, regardless of their ability status, who needs emergency shelter, they should call the homeless hotline and then follow the instructions from there.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. And Jay, we have a question in the chat.
Mhm.
It says, is the homeless hotline number for statewide or just PG County specific?
That's a great question. It is only for Prince George's County. If somebody, as I said, if somebody is a resident of another jurisdiction, and they call our homeless hotline because they're sleeping outdoors in Prince George's County, that should then be a referral to the street outreach team. We can confirm that that person is actually in Prince George's County and then help facilitate that shelter placement. If somebody is unsheltered in Montgomery County or Washington, D.C., there are separate hotlines for those jurisdictions, and each of the jurisdictions are intended by HUD primarily to serve residents within that jurisdiction. Every jurisdiction gets their own funding for emergency shelter and housing programs, and HUD expects us to primarily serve the clients that are residents in our jurisdiction.
Great.
Another
thank you.
question. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Don't
Oh,
want
no,
to
you're fine.
interrupt. For another question?
Mhm.
Yes. Hey, Jay, it's Kathy Gabrielson. How are you? It's good
I'm
to
well.
hear
How
from
are
you.
you?
I'm fine, thank you. I still volunteer with the Homeless Outreach Inc. And so lately, the director has been getting calls from people who say they've called the hotline, and we try to check on this. We'll either correspond with a homeless navigator or with Deidre, but the people will say they've called and they've been told that there's no space. They need to wait and call the next morning or the next morning or the next morning. So in the meantime, there are still people outside someplace. Is there anything else that we could do differently?
No, it sounds like you're doing everything right.
Okay.
We do have limited space. Very frequently, all of our shelters are occupied. There's frequently extra space that is made when the temperatures are hypothermic. That happened just a few weeks ago. It's probably going to happen again this weekend. So there is frequently extra space for those circumstances, but in general, if somebody is not able to get into an emergency shelter, then that's where the hotline should reach out to us, but that individual can also reach out to us directly, or the organization that helped refer them can reach out to us directly, and we'll make sure that one of our street outreach navigators is doing everything that we can to keep them safe and stable while we're trying to get them connected to emergency shelter.
Okay, that sounds good. And I heard you say too that we can still call you, and I have your number as well as the numbers for the 3 navigators who do tremendous work. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, our street outreach team is absolutely fantastic. And if anybody ever has any questions about a specific case or homelessness in general, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, thank you. Thanks so much for
Thanks,
all
Kathy.
the
Good
work
talking
that
to
you
you.
are.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
good
all
to
the work
talk.
you do as well.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all. We only have 4 minutes left, so I am going to encourage folks to, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or email the presenters directly. I also just want to thank all the presenters for sharing all of this useful information. I know that many of the food assistance providers are going to use this information and share it with the community. So now we're just going to jump to community announcements and open the floor up for just brief community announcements if anyone has them. And I will give like a 5-second pause.
Hi, Julie. It's LaTanya Brown with the Prince George's County Department of Social Services. Sorry I got on late. I had an emergency with the family that I was working with.
No worries. Do you have something to share? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know, whether you wanted me to go ahead and share what I have.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, sure. Do you have slides
Okay.
up or just talking off?
No, just talking.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
So I want to start off by saying thank you for the invite. We appreciate it. So our family investment division, which is it's in all three of our buildings, they really focus on on families with minor children. So at one point during the pandemic, we were able to assist with $4,000 per family. Now that has dropped down to $2,500 per family if they qualify. One of the qualifications, again, is that they have to have minor children in the home. They have to actually live in that home to be able to get it. They also have to be able to maintain right after it, so that we're just not throwing our funds away, but that they're able to sustain themselves moving forward after they've received the help that we could give them. Also, they have to have a court summons. That's a must. So they have to have a court summons, and they must have a minor child to be able to do that. And this is at, they can apply online. I believe you can go online and apply, or you can go to the Department of Social Services, any of the three buildings. I believe South County is closed right now. They had a major water leak there. So building 425, Bright Seat Road, would be the best place to start at. Also, and Jay, please help me with this. I think I saw a email go out yesterday stating that people with high balances, that now we're able to refer them over to the ERAP program if they have high balances. Jay, do you know anything about that?
That is not a program I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay. So I saw something that went out yesterday that was saying that individuals are able to reach out to the Department of Housing if they have very high balances and if they have not received an ERAP before, because I believe it's 18 months. So if they've already exhausted their 18 months, then they would not be eligible to receive it again, because they would have gone past their 18 months. Also, in my office, which is the eviction prevention unit, we are accepting applications for people applying that would like to apply for rental assistance. We are accepting them over email. And so the email address is emergency.assistance, and right after assistance, the letter C, the letter S, the letter D, at maryland.gov. So that's what I have. If anyone have any questions, feel free.
Thank you. And would you mind dropping your email in the chat? Just in case.
I just put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Great. And I know we're at time. Yes.
This is Kathy again. I just want to be sure that everybody got the same email I got, I think, from the Office of Emergency Management, that we can still order supplies until February 7th if we need things like masks and test kits and such. Did everybody get that email? Did I lose you?
If not, Kathy,
Yeah.
could you forward that to me, and I can drop it in our food assistance provider group?
Okay. Yes, I'll do that. I will do that as soon as the meeting's over. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Andrea, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. This is Andrea Delanto from Maryland Hunger Solutions. Like I said before, we work with people who are applying for SNAP. So if anybody on the call also works with people who are applying for SNAP, who are currently on SNAP, we just wanted to flag that the Department of Human Services has let me put it in the chat too. They updated information about the emergency allotments that are ending on February 28th. So what that means is that there is going to be a reduction in benefits for some people. And the Department of Human Services has been sending out notices, but sometimes those notices may get lost in translation. Sometimes they come in English when they really should be in Spanish, or they just, they're not read, or for whatever reason, people may not be getting the message. So we're sending the message out to all of you, just as a reminder that emergency allotments are ending, and they're ending on, that says on the website of DHS, which I put in the chat, February 28th. So some things that you can do if you have people who are in this situation and are concerned, definitely people can submit changes to make sure that all their expenses are being accurately reported, because that can also help boost a little bit of their benefits. So just making sure that that they're submitting things like utilities. If they have utilities, if those are part of their expenses, that is really crucial to helping support their benefits just a little bit more. So if anyone has any questions about this, I will put my email in the chat too. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you.
All right, and I know we're over time, so I just wanted to touch base briefly about some resources that we have. I just wanted to plug our food assistance resources in 7 languages, and they are linked in the agenda and also on our website. And then I also wanted to share that on February 8th at 10 a.m. we are having a Find Help claiming workshop. So if you haven't claimed your organization with Find Help yet, this is a web workshop that can help you do that. And again, that's February 8th, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. And also, if anyone's interested in addressing food insecurity, a community-driven approach, Julia will be presenting on that today. We're starting right now at 2 o'clock. And the information is linked in the agenda, and along with the DHS SNAP info that Andrea shared is also in the agenda. And our next meeting will be March 2nd at 1 p.m., not 1 a.m. And feel free to sign up for our email list in Google group if you would like. I thank you all for joining us, and have a great great weekend. Thanks you all.
Thanks, everyone.
This was fabulous. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.